like are affected. So if you guys don't know, ceiling drop traps can trigger from 3 high. So if a husk is standing on this floor, this trap will trigger and they will bounce up and down, up and down. So if the trap is too high, it will bounce less, therefore doing less damage. Same thing at 1 high. So for ceiling drop traps, you want to have them on 2 high. They also knock husks down. So when you're placing them, you want to place them towards your objective. So let's say my objective is the home base. You would want to place it towards that because then they will stagger backwards. So if I was a husk and this hit me, I would fall backwards down this ramp. If I faced it that way, I would stagger up the ramp. So you want to make sure you're always placing your ceiling drop traps and your floor freezes, if I can find one, the same way. So now they would stagger back twice. And these two are the same. The same thing applies to both of them. So now, for the next one is... Oh, I forgot to craft one. That's okay. Is ceiling electric fields. They actually trigger in a 3x3 zone. So if a ceiling electric field is right here, they will trigger on all of this metal I just put down. These 9 tiles, they will all trigger. So when you are making tunnels, you can use that to your advantage. But they also trigger from 2 high, which you guys will see later. And then the last one, the last couple of traps is the ceiling zapper and the, I don't know why I can't find it, the gas trap. They both trigger from 1 high. The ceiling gas trap will leave a cloud of damage and smoke that will damage husks, so they have to stay in that cloud for as long as possible to maximize damage, or else it will do a lot less damage than the other ones. And the ceiling zapper shocks just as the ceiling electric field does. But it is in a 1x1 zone. So if I have, and I didn't craft one, if I have a ceiling zapper, sorry, 1 second, the only way it will trigger is when I'm right under it. Which, interesting fact, if you have a stair like this, it will also trigger through the stair. This ceiling electric field will not, and neither will the ceiling drop trap. So, that's a little bit of our first look at traps. So now we're going to go on to actual tunnels. We'll pick that up later. So, our first tunnel is just going to be a basic tunnel where Husk will walk through it, and it is 2x2 wide, and you can make this go on forever. But the thought behind this trap tunnel is the Husks will spawn over here, they will walk into your tunnel, and then they will walk this way, and then this way, and then this way. So what we do is we are going to place wall launchers. So when the Husks walk into this wall, they will be pushed backwards. And same thing with this wall, and this wall, and this wall. You want to make sure you walk through the tunnel like a Husk would, so they will get launched back here, and then here, and then here. So a Husk could go all the way through the tunnel, and then get launched back on this one, and then this one can launch them back, and etc. So that's how you want to do it. Now, past those traps is your first trap should be a sound wall, because sound walls will make sploders drop their propane tank so they can't blow up your tunnel. After your first one, you can either do another one, but I will either personally do a wall dart or a broadside. Now, about broadsides, they are very, very good, but when we are placing broadsides, you want to have them 1 tile apart like this with broadsides on both sides, because they will bounce back and forth, just like the tire trap bouncing up and down. This is a projectile, so it needs to bounce. They can also bounce too long, and it will do more damage than a wall dart. So you can place them like this. 3 long, you can still place them and they will do a decent amount of damage, but a wall dart will do more damage at that range. Now, if you put a broadside shooting into nothing, it will do 1,000 damage. Where if you just put a wall dart, it will do double that damage. And my numbers are actually off since I'm in Stonewood, but you guys get the point. You want to place your broadside here. See how it's bouncing on these 2 walls? Here, it's bouncing on these 2 walls, but since we're at the end of the tunnel, we don't want to put a broadside here. We want to put a wall dart. So then, it will shoot off into nothing, but it will do a lot of damage. So that is kind of what our wall traps look like for this tunnel. Our next thing is going to be the floor traps. So when I start my tunnel, I do a wooden floor spike, and I do that on every other tile. Because if we look at the perks on wooden floor spikes, if we go down, it says damaging all enemies who are standing on the trap. Damaged enemies are slowed for 6 seconds. So they get snared, they hit this, they'll get snared, so they will go through your trap tunnel slower at a walk than if they were to just run through it. So you want to snare them over and over, and they could miss this. You don't just want to put it at the start because this may wear off. They may get hit by this wall launcher and then start walking back, and that 6 seconds will have weared off. So then you put another one. Now, remember what we were talking about with those freeze traps? Those are going to be the next things. So we are going to place them where the husks are coming from. So we're going to place it this way. They're going to get frozen right here and stagger backwards back into the tunnel. So same thing right here. Now at the end of your tunnel, let's say your objective is that tree. You are going to have smashers who might not die by this tunnel. So you can put a tar pit at the end of the tunnel to stop smashers from charging. And now onto the ceiling traps. I will use triple durability, double reload ceiling drop traps to, and watch how I place these again. They're walking this way, so we want to push them backwards. They're walking this way, we want to push them backwards. This way, backwards. Same thing here. But yeah. So that is kind of our first tunnel. You could do this with ceiling drop traps, ceiling electric fields. Any top trap will work. But let's say you don't have wall launchers. You can use a wall dart or a broadside or something else. Let's say you don't have floor freeze. You could just do it in wooden floor spikes or the opposite way around. You know. So there's lots of options to do with this tunnel, but the main idea behind it is making them walk through your traps as slow as possible, taking the most damage. So now, onto our next tunnel. That's the first one. This next one is going to be a, basically like, I forgot what it was called, but basically like a prison build. So we're going to use our wall launchers again, and when they walk into the tunnel from here, we are going to put wall launchers here. So these wall launchers are going to push them into this little jail cell, and they're going to take damage from all of these traps that we put in here. So what we're going to do is we are going to put floor freezes, and we are going to face them away from our traps so the husks stagger backwards. And we're going to do that for this one as well. Now, I personally will do snare traps on these two just to make sure they are staying there for as long as possible. Because let's say they don't die to this tunnel. They have to walk back here and they'll get snared again, and then they'll get pushed into this tunnel. So, since we have this floor freeze and they're getting pushed here, what I do when I make this build is I will put ceiling gas traps. These don't matter which way you put it. You can put them anyway. But since they are getting staggered here, they are going to stay in the smoke for very long, and they are going to take a lot of damage. And to capitalize on them taking damage, I am going to put wall lights, which push them back and stagger them this way, so they take even more damage. Now, The other thing I will put is I will put wall darts or broadsides here and here. I will put broadsides on this wall because this will do the most damage. Remember, one tile apart, they're doing massive amounts of damage. But now, on this wall, I'm going to put wall darts. Just because they have a little bit more durability and they can reach all the way across. And sometimes your broadsides may glitch out, and when a husk gets pushed, they won't take damage from your broadside. So now, on the top, like I was saying earlier, you can put ceiling electric fields too high, or you can put ceiling drop traps. But when we're placing ceiling drop traps, we place them 3 high like over here so they do the most damage. And they stagger a lot. But, since this is too high, we are going to use ceiling electric fields. And that is our second tunnel. And you can make this for as long as possible. And remember, towards the end of the tunnel, let's say a smasher's getting through, place a little tar pit. So, this last tunnel is a lot for like endurance players that they will use. So what they will do is they will put wall darts because they trigger 6 tiles far, and they will shoot 3 tiles far. As you can see, they will trigger within 6 tiles. They will trigger both of those on both sides, and they will shoot across this gap, and they will put wall dynamos, which I forgot to craft, it's fine, right here, so they will take damage from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 traps. Because remember, sorry, we're skipping a little bit ahead, ceiling electric fields trigger in a little 3x3 area. So, even if husks aren't walking here, they will get hit by this ceiling electric field. So now, if we put more ceiling electric fields on top, or even drop traps, they're getting hit by, let's do a count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 traps. So, I put this at the end of my tunnel when smashers are coming, so I can do the most damage possible. So I put tar pits. But yeah. I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry. Oh, yeah. And then at the end, smashers may break through this and all that stuff. But I'm going to apply all of these principles real quick on Marco's home base. And we're kind of just going to do a little demo. So, we know husks are going to come from over there, right? That's where they spawn. Yeah, I know. It was funny. It's fine. Sorry. Got a little bit distracted. We know that husks are going to come from over there. So, we want to force them. I'm going to do that first tunnel. That's personally my favorite. I'm going to force them here into this tunnel. See how we already kind of have our first part just with the terrain? We kind of used the terrain to our advantage. So technically we could have started right there. But I like starting right here. Because then they might try and break this wall. But anyway, so now a smasher can charge at this wall. But normal husks won't break this. So we are just going to do this tunnel back to back, like this. And see, now they're going to go through all of these traps, and I promise you, you probably don't even have to make this 6 long. I always do, just because I'm overkill, but you can only make this 4 long, and I promise you, they will not get through, especially if you have properly leveled traps. So now, you could put 1 high ceiling traps, or I like to do 3 high, just for the stun. So it would look like this. And then we would do, I connect it more just to make sure it doesn't break. But now we would just put our traps in here. So we can just do this real quick. Push trap, push trap, push trap, push trap, push trap, push trap. And then we're going to go back and I'm going to put broadsides. Broadside, 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 broadside. Then since we're shooting into nothing, we're going to put a wall dart. Now, that's all our wall traps done. And now, we are going to do floor traps, which, remember, floor spike, floor spike, floor spike. And then we can do floor freezes each way. And yeah. And honestly, we probably wouldn't even need the ceiling traps, but again, I'm overkill. So, we are gonna do that quick. So if you see when I was turning, that's to make sure, okay, this trap is going this way, they're getting pushed backwards. This trap is this way, and they're going backwards. Now, I know some people like to do this to make sure husks will go all the way around the tunnel. I don't do that just because this tunnel works well enough where, let's say, a husk is right here. They just get through this part. They will be pushed into this wall. But yeah. So you can do that, but this tunnel will work completely fine without it. So now, we know husks are going to come from that way and up this ramp. So we're going to do a little bit of blocking. So we're just going to block them this way to make sure that they go into our tunnel correctly. But also, we want to make sure that they go into our tunnel. Whoops. A little bit laggy here. So we're going to make sure they're going to walk up. Now they'll go into this tunnel. We are going to start this way. We could put a wall here, but I want to make sure that they don't want to break it and they'll break part of our tunnel. So now, they will go this way again. And what we could have even done is we could have connected our tunnels right here and combine them into one tunnel. So I'll kind of show that. Let's say I wanted to do that just because I wanted to save traps, right? So we can destroy this quick. And we can force them into this little middle part. And we can do what I talked about earlier with people who do endurance. They will edit this, do that, then they'll place all those traps down again. But yeah. And that's mostly just to stop smashers, but it works on normal husks too. It's just a little bit overkill. But yeah. So we would have done the same thing on that side and just move it all over here. And then put, like, actually this is supposed to be a sound wall. And what we could do here, so we make sure no sploders get in, is we can put a sound wall here as well. Or even one more. But yeah, so that's kind of a little demonstration. And let's go all the way over here real quick. Actually, it's not even open yet. Never mind. Basically, I was just going to show you. I can show you on this hill. If we put a trap right here, right? It's 3 high. Or 2 high for our ceiling drop trap. This trap, in it of itself, let's say this was a 3 long ramp, it will roll the husks down all the way down that ramp. So actually, I just remembered, there's a little example over here. And I kind of showed this in my video earlier on YouTube. Right here. I put, yep, and Marco has one actually, a ceiling drop trap. And that trap will trigger and roll them all the way down this ramp. And they'll have to walk back up. And then it will trigger. Okay, to end off this video, I'm just going to reiterate. Tire traps, 3 high. Ceiling electric fields, 9 tile area and 2 high. Ceiling zappers and ceiling gas traps, 1 high. Wall darts can trigger 6 tiles long. Only put broadsides 1 to 2 tiles long. And yeah, make sure you put your floor freezes and ceiling drop traps towards your base or where the husks are walking. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you want to see more. And I will see you guys in the next one.